Welcome back. Okay. To summarize, what I have done is I have cached out 3 different initializations of this. And I loaded them all into 3 different rows. Cache 1, cache 2, and cache 3. Now then, let us, as you can see, got differences with all of them at varying, just like I had prior with the sphere, previous sphere. See, we got the previous spheres, like that, simulating the same exact thing with the dust here. Because you got some that are more noisy, some that are softer. You want a couple softy ones next to each other. One that's like a little over off the side, one up top, one in the middle that's a little more noisy. You could add more variations of them, but what you don't want to do is have them all be noisy, then only 1 or 2 be soft. You want them to kind of blend together, and don't have them all be like in a straight line. Here, let me open up Photoshop and I'll show you what I mean. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care what the settings are. But bear with me, I'm using a mouse. So, let's say, actually, why the hell is it cream grain, or whatever the hell that was? Right. So, let's say this is our camera. Okay? So it is shooting in this direction. It's not going to be exactly flat, it's going to be a little angled. So what we're going to have is you're going to have a cutoff here and a cutoff here on the side. But you'll have 3 rows of your sim. You'll have your cache 1, cache 2, and your cache 3. And you'll have them at varying heights, lengths, and you'll have the width. You'll have them at, do that all. It's going to be controlled through here. Get back over here. As you can see, I have them translated, scaled together. If you click over here, then you can see it's no longer 1.4, it's now 1.6. Then if you go over here, it's 1.5. So they've all been scaled differently. They're at different placements. Good, it's not locked, so I can show you. Then, as you can see, got row 1, row 2, and starting with row 3 back here. Now, the one thing you want to make sure you do is that they are all covering and there's no open gaps. Because as they're rolling forward, because they're going to be rolling out this way. And then you're going to have some of them that are going to be going this way from top. Let's write that better. top to bottom. Because they aren't going linearly, they are curving, they're arcing. Because that's the way that billowy smoke moves. It is not in a harsh straight line. It arcs. It's going to start out slow, get a little bit faster as it goes down with gravity. That because you got your right angle, because it starts here and it goes down like that. But it is more like that is how it's moving. Its motion path is linear, but its action that it moves in is an arc. That is the way that's what we controlled when we created our vector plane that it is moving through, our motion path. It's what helped us to drive it, to push it, and to give it the realistic feel of it. And that also was helped through when we created previously our attribute VOP. All of that is helping to control the behavior of our variations here. Now what I should have done, that I don't have yet, is created more variations here in the back to cover more space here. I would do it now, but it's gonna take a while because these are taxing on the machine. Even though this is a powerful machine, it still is taxing. That's why they actually have render farms. They help a lot for this sort of stuff. Another thing you want to keep in mind is before you start going through and setting these up, what you want to do is, because these are all cached out, you are going to want to go through and delete. Make sure you already have your file saved off before any of this, and save out each variation you do. I probably am going to go back and make one or two more variations later, but that's later. What you want to do is go through and delete your Autodop network, your dust storm. Everything will be deleted except for your caches, because those are the things that you're going to read in, because you're deleting all the heavy load stuff since you don't need that anymore, because that's all being cached out to disk, because everything is just being read in. You don't need it anymore. Like for me on my disk, when I cache stuff out, I don't have it onto an SSD. I'll have it all on a hard drive, because SSDs are mainly only for your high intense programs. Everything else, it's just being sourced. It's just storage data. It's only the read and writes that you want on your SSD. And then once it's there, then move it over, because you don't need all that extra power in slowing down your computer. Now, let's talk about our out. Like I was saying a couple of videos before, you don't need your pixel samples to be all that high if it's not going to be all that well seen. Because the scene that I'm trying to replicate here, I'm taking it from a scene from Prometheus. Dust storm. Let's see if Google can find that. Let's see if they have a high-res version of this. Alright. Now, as you can see, there you got multiple different dust storms. You got one cache here. These two are the same. These two are the same. Right here's a third. Here's a fourth, fifth, and sixth. There might be one here on the bottom, very bottom. So there's 6 or 7 dust storms caches going on together. And they are all high densities. So, to clarify, as you can see, we only have 3 variations. They had 6 or 7. So, in terms of rendering, you want it to have ray samples of 100, so that way you're getting the full quality of the densities, and you want the noise to be very, very low, so that way you're getting the thickness for the dust, or in our case, the smoke that is being represented as dust. Then everything else you can leave at default. And then for your buckets, if your rendering can handle it, make it a tile size of 32, because that will make it that much more crisp in the output. For me, I have a 1080 graphics card, but if you have a workstation or an equivalent, 32 will be fine for you. Otherwise, stick with the classic 16, which is what it's set to at by default. I increased my RAM to 0.5 from 0.25. Since I got 32 gigs, my computer can handle it. And I'm doing a stereo cam rig, but you don't necessarily have to go stereo. You can just go with a regular cam. And for images, some other stuff you'll want to have added is an all comp, which I got when I went down to direct lighting per component. I mean, not per component, I did combined lighting per light, which means it's going to be going through and making a separate EXR renderer for each light in the scene. And in our case, right now, there's 4. My bad, 5. The way I set up the lighting was like this. I did 2 behind down for this one's trying to get this area of light. This one here is getting here. Right here is in shadow, but that doesn't matter because we're kind of getting cut off right here and right here with the camera. Then you have here, this light here is going to be shooting off like this. So you're getting intense light here, and you're getting fall off going across this way. And this one is going like this, and so you're getting intense light over on this area, and then you're getting decay as it goes this way. But you got the cross between them, so that way it gets more or less evenly lit on this throughout, where it's harsher on the sides, and the combined light in the middle evens out. And I have this one up above going down for like daylight, then down here I have it coming up to compensate. And the overall look was fairly good. Let me go see if I can find the renderer I did of it. E drive, Dini project folder, renders, billowy smoke, test, stereo. Then let's pull up Photoshop so that way the EXR can be read. Let's see, is this one of the good ones? Yes, transparency is fine. Oh, I see what happened. Got small because it's a small canvas. So, to see it complete, just get rid of these. Okay, fine. Let's rasterize you real quick. And I can't rasterize because it's selected. Now, rasterize layer. There. Now then, just scale you up so you can see. As you can see, we got fairly high volume of detail in this. It's a little bit blurred, but more or less that is okay because this is not going to be seen at this scale. More or less it's going to be seen at like that far away kind of detail. But we'll scale it up to fit the canvas when it's all done. And then it's also going to be thrown into Nuke. So Nuke is used for compositing, so that will be good because in there I can also work and touch up on the color and lighting. With most of your renders, when you bring them out of Houdini, what you want to make sure you do is try and keep them mostly grayscale, not like complete gray, but more on the white and gray side. So that way when you bring them out, you can colorize them accurately. When you bring them into Nuke or After Effects or whatever compositing program you're going to use them with. But you only do this if and only if this is going to be a composite. If this is going into a render engine or sprite sheet or something else, then you want to make sure you have accurate color inside of Houdini. And that will conclude us for how to make billowy smoke. If you have any questions, please let me know and I will answer them.